At about 35 kilometers long, Loch Ness is the largest lake along the Great Glen, a geological fault line that bisects Scotland. Of course, it's also known for its infamous resident, the Loch Ness Monster. Nicknamed Nessie, the rumored creature is most often described with a small head on a long, sinuous neck, with a thick body, seal-like flippers, and a long tail. It almost looks prehistoric. Water-dwelling monsters have long been...
It is confirmed. Plexor is the Loch Ness Monster. Oh my gosh. Lucas, we were right.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to Battle of the Beasts New Generation episode number 41. I am continuing the trend of always watching or listening to something when Plexor is in the fight. So, even though we already know that Plexor's in this fight, I'm still going to do the normal introduction I do with him. So with that being said, hold on, let's do this. Okay, so on the left side, represented Series 15, Velmar's Revenge, Book number 3, The Slayer of Ronak in Episode 10, and Falra on Episode number 36, we have Plexor the Raging Reptile. And on the other side, representing Series 21, The Sorcerer's Revenge, the last beast standing of that series as well. And also, the Slayer of, oh god, I do not remember their names, Vizlak in episode number 18, and Scalix in episode number 33. We have Skrar, the Night Scavenger. So, today, as you can see, we have a water beast, a Loch Ness Monster, versus a fiery chimera. This is going to be an interesting fight, and I'm glad Plexor got Skrar. Because this seems like a recipe for interestingness. Yeah, interestingness. So, the arena is gonna... Okay, I really hate to do this to Plexor. Oh, I don't know. Actually, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, if you remember all the way back in episode number 10, where I did Plexor versus Ronak, I used a very special battlefield. And if I can have the image appear up here, you can see it is the Quell arena in Hunger Games Catching Fire. And I'm bringing that up now because that's the battlefield we'll be using for this battle. Skrar is now replacement Ronak. But will Skrar lose this time? I don't know. We'll find out. So, with that being said, Plexor is now done with his rampage on Series 14, by the way, because I just realised he killed... No, he didn't. He didn't kill... It's like Skrar did. Okay, never mind. Ignore what I said there. So with that being said, let's get to the stats.
Plexor, the Raging Reptile. Fishing communities in the Kingdom of Tangala tell scary stories about the legendary cursed fish whose capture brought in rains to help the farmers. But no one actually believes the story, even though they hold an annual festival in which they capture a model version of the creature. They should not be so careless, for beneath the waters lurks Plexor, a monstrous reptile whose gaping mouth can swallow whole boats and unluckily fish folk. So, as you can see by the awesome stats and abilities, from breathing underwater to
Skrar the Night Scavenger. Skrar is a hulking, muscular beast whose body is coated in spiky white fur that can burst into scorching hot purple flames. If that isn't terrifying enough, his smooth scaled serpent-like tail can knock his foes unconscious. His awesome stats show he has agility, sharp hooves, sharp snake fangs. The hooves can melt whatever they touch, can evaporate water. Large amounts do require rest, but he proves to be a cunning foe in the tournament.
3, 2, 1!
Plexor versus Skrar. Let's get into this. So, as the chamber doors open, Skrar bounds towards the centre of the arena, looking around for his opponent, ready to kill him. By the way, when Plexor was bounding towards the centre of the arena, going along one of those columns or lines, walkways, he was making a burnt footprint path as he was bounding along there. Plexor goes out through the water chamber door, which has been newly introduced, so so now there's 3 exits they can use, and makes his way towards the centre of the arena. Skrar sees a silhouette of Plexor just swimming over towards Skrar, and right before Skrar realises what Plexor's going to do, he jumps out of the way just before Plexor bursts out of the water and snaps at where Skrar just was. Skrar then bounds right back towards Plexor and bites on Plexor's neck. Already a bite at the neck. Just pulling at it, digging his hot hooves into Plexor, just pulling at it, and until Plexor's flesh gets ripped off, where Skrar falls back onto the pillars, onto the floor, and Plexor goes back into the water. Obviously roaring in from the pain of having the flesh from his neck be ripped off. It's not a serious amount, but it's just an amount to really piss Plexor off. Skrar sniffs at this piece of flesh he's got. Smells salty. He gives it a taste, and it is too salty for him to eat, so he just spits it back out into the water. And right when he does that, Plexor rears up behind him and snaps down towards Skrar. Skrar bounds out of the way and scratches at Plexor, just hitting him right in the eye, making burning flesh go right there through the jade eye, just causing cracks to appear there. Plexor, roaring in pain, just starts banging his head towards Skrar, each time missing multiple times, but it's just breaking up the walkway that Skrar is running down. Skrar circles round at the end of the walkway and jumps towards another walkway. Plexor sees that and headbutts at the wall, meeting the intercept point of where Skrar would be. Skrar saw that and is able to dodge it by pulling himself backwards and clutching onto Plexor's head, where he gets on top of it and runs down Plexor's neck, burning Plexor with his footprints, and then jumping onto the walkway, where Plexor turns around, lifts his tail up and smashes the walkway in front of him, where he stops in his tracks. He goes to run back and his head breaks another side. Skrar is trapped, but not showing any fear. Plexor roars at Skrar. Skrar roars backwards and, using his tail, whips Plexor's face to the right, where Plexor goes back and goes to snap at Skrar. Skrar wanted that to happen. He jumps up and lands on top of Plexor's head, to where Plexor leans his head back and starts shaking it all over, trying to wriggle Skrar off, but Skrar is just burning onto Plexor's head, biting down on top of him, just doing everything, wrapping his tail around Plexor's neck, just to strangle him as well. Plexor, realising that he's going to need to do something, which he didn't think he would have to do, but he has to, he dives down into the water. Skrar, realising he might be in trouble, remains doing what he's doing, just increases the power and the aggression of it, to where Skrar gets submerged underwater. Skrar still biting, holding on for dear life, trying not to lose his breath as well. Plexor is then swimming round and at the close to the surface, but not at the surface, to where he's hitting Skrar against the walkways, just smashing right through them. Skrar, feeling the pain, realising he's going to need to let go because it's not working, because Plexor seems to be able to breathe underwater and above water. Skrar jumps onto the centre walkway, soaking wet and really badly injured from being slammed into the walkways. He heats his body up to where it just dries the water off, and purple flame starts emerging from his white spiky fur. Every walk he makes, steam is erupting from where he is, melting the rock as well. He realizes, he knows that he can evaporate the water, but he knows if he does that, he's putting himself in danger. As he is able to realize that Plexor can breathe above water, he knows that if he gets rid of the water, Plexor can still fight. And if Skrar is too tired to fight, Skrar's going to die. So what Skrar does is that he tries to think of an idea whilst he's getting a short break from Plexor. However, what Plexor's doing is that he's smashing all the walkways apart, just breaking it to where it is out of reach for Skrar, and Skrar's now trapped on the centre island. Plexor then realising that Skrar's trapped, he goes to lifts his tail up behind Skrar and whips it down towards Skrar, to where Skrar jumps out of the way, bites down on his tail, and using the body heat he has, he burns right through Plexor's tail to where he rips it right off. Plexor, roaring in pain, gets down below the water again, and using his head and neck, just breaks right through the just starts breaking into the support for the centre island, just trying to break it up to where the island will submerge. Skrar, realising what Plexor was doing, can't do anything. He can't get down to Plexor to start attacking him again. Skrar is trapped. In lack of a better word, he is trapped. So what Skrar does is that he lies down on the island, just to gather some more energy, as much energy as he can, before Plexor finally breaks through the support and the island starts submerging. Plexor swims back just to see the island submerging, and Skrar gets back onto his feet as the island submerges, and he submerges with it. He's just paddling above the water, and he feels a chomp down on his tail to where he roars in pain and is dragged down below the water. And that is when Skrar's plan goes into action. He goes down towards Plexor's head where his tail is chomped on. He grabs it. He puts his claws and mouth over Plexor's head, and then using all his body heat, erupts into a burst of flame, causing the water from the spectator's point of view just starts bubbling and steaming to where the water is slowly evaporating. Plexor's head is being burnt really badly, just roaring in pain, but not letting go of Skrar's tail. He's going to get revenge on his tail for being chopped off. Skrar, feeling the pain, is not easing in, keeping the heat that he is emanated, just evaporating the water, burning up the insides of Plexor. This is madness! To the point where eventually the water evaporated, the steam clears, and both the beasts are lying down in serious pain. Plexor in major pain from being burnt and bitten and all that. Skrar immensely tired, soaking wet, and his tail snapped off. They both get back up. Skrar feeling a little disorientated, very tired. Plexor gets back up, bleeding from multiple scratches coming from his head, staring at Skrar, knowing if Skrar collapses, he can just finish the job off and he would win. Skrar knows if he falls down, he's dead. So what he does is he bounds towards Plexor. Plexor slowly, because flippers, makes his way towards Skrar. Plexor bangs his head down towards where Skrar is. Skrar doesn't have the energy to stop suddenly and dodge that, so he gets crushed alongside it. But as Plexor's head gets back up, he's still standing, and then Plexor does that again, smashing his head towards Skrar. Skrar's able to roll out of the way and slashes Plexor with his claw, digging his claw into Plexor's mouth, and using his remaining heat, he emanates as much heat as he can, burning up Plexor, just evaporates in the water around him. Not around him because the water's already gone, but the water molecules left on him, making him bone dry, making his flesh burn up quicker. His skull, Plexor can feel his skull starting to melt. Skrar's losing all his heat, and Plexor retaliates by moving his head out of the way and swinging it back towards Skrar. Plexor with a half melted face, and Skrar really tired at the moment, hoping he did enough damage, is starting to feel very tired to where he couldn't support his weight anymore, and he just collapses down. Plexor grins in what seems like a menacing one, in which he realises he's won. He makes his way towards Skrar, slowly and very weakly, starting to really feel the pain from the melted face, the loss of tail, the flesh, the blood coming out of his flesh. Plexor is about to finish the job off on Skrar. He feels that there's so much blood leaking out where he can feel himself getting weaker. And he realises that if he collapses, because Skrar isn't bleeding out, he would lose. So what he does is he bites down on Skrar's body, impaling his teeth into the body and snapping Skrar's body in half. And then Plexor collapses down onto the ground, hoping that was enough to give him the victory. And it was. Ladies and gentlemen, Plexor has won, and Skrar has lost. Series 21 is now eliminated. Right. So I will start things off saying I did not actually go into this fight making sure that I did not go into this fight saying to myself, okay, Plexor will win this because he's a Loch Ness monster, he's a legend. I went into this fight thinking Skrar was actually going to win. Because even though Skrar is a fire beast and Plexor's a water beast, Skrar can evaporate the water. However, as Plexor can breathe above water, inland as well, it's like Skrar would be too tired to even finish the job. Yes, he got so many major hits on Plexor, but Plexor, with his personality being a non-stop fighter, that's what kind of edged it for me, making Plexor win. It wasn't biased. If it was biased, I would have let Skrar win. But yeah, Plexor has won. So kind of counteracting what I said in the summary video of how I think Plexor is going to lose. So caught me off guard as well. But when I realised Plexor was going to win, when I realised Skrar did some damage on Plexor, some major damage as well, but not major enough to where Plexor just collapses then and there. I didn't know who was going to win this fight either. And even though I am happy with either of them winning, if I'm being completely honest, sorry Plexor, I would have preferred Skrar. And Skrar's been eliminated. The Slayer of Vizlak and Skallix is dead. And Plexor's moving on to round 3. Round 4. Somehow. But that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the little notification bell down the corner below, and I'll see you next time.